Chosen one. There is a scar you carry, one that no surgeon placed, one that no accident alone explains. It is deeper than skin, older than your years, and etched in a language only heaven can read. To some, it looks like pain. To you, it has often felt like shame. But in the eyes of the Almighty, it is not a mark of failure, it is a seal of destiny. You have wondered why your life has not followed the simple path of others. Why doors that swing open easily for some seem to resist you. Why storms gather above your head when others walk under clear skies. And when you look at that scar, whether visible on your body, etched across your soul, or hidden in the tender places of memory, you feel the weight of a mystery you cannot explain. Listen closely. That scar is not an accident. It is not the cruel joke of fate, nor the random strike of misfortune. It is a signature, written upon you before you were born, long before your first breath, before your eyes ever opened, before the world ever knew your name. Heaven already traced that line into your story. It was set as a reminder, a prophecy, a code embedded in your being. The scar you carry speaks. It whispers of survival. It testifies of battles fought in silence. It announces that you were chosen not because of ease, but because of endurance. And though others may turn away, misunderstanding the depth of what you carry, the throne of God recognizes it as proof of your authenticity. You are not common. You were never designed to be ordinary. And if you have felt the weight of isolation, it is because heaven hid you in plain sight. That scar, whether of body, mind, or spirit, is not a curse. It is the doorway through which divine purpose will flow. In this message, you will hear the truth about why you carry what you carry. You will learn why the pain of your past has carved rivers of wisdom in your soul. You will understand why certain memories refuse to fade, why certain wounds never fully disappeared. And most of all, you will see that what you thought was holding you back has always been preparing you to stand where no one else can. Stay with me. Do not turn away. What you are about to receive is not random encouragement. It is revelation. And by the end, you will never look at that scar the same again. What you hold inside is not just memory, not just trauma, not just a story to tell when the night grows heavy. It is evidence that heaven has touched you. Evidence that the hand of God marked you before you knew how to spell his name. You see, there are moments in eternity where God bends low, writes his intention into the soul of a vessel, and seals it in a way that time cannot erase. That is what has happened to you. The scar you carry, whether across your heart, your mind, or your very body, is not merely the aftermath of life's chaos. It is the handwriting of God's sovereignty, carved into you so that you could never forget that you were set apart. And here's the mystery. The world often looks at scars as proof of weakness. They see wounds and assume defeat. But heaven sees them as signatures, divine signatures that say, "This one belongs to me. This one has passed through fire and not been consumed. This one has been broken, but not destroyed. This one bears my mark." Do you understand what that means? It means your story has never been random. Every loss, every betrayal, every tear you cried into your pillow, it was never wasted. God was not absent in those moments. He was present, guiding even the pain, shaping it into prophecy, pressing his seal into your life, so that when the day of revelation came, no power of darkness could deny who you are. This is why you've always felt watched, both by heaven and by forces that wished you harm, because you carry evidence, because you are walking proof, because the scar that you thought made you less was actually the exact sign that you were born for more. Even now, the Spirit of the Lord is testifying to you. That inner stirring you feel, that quickening in your chest, that fire rising up even as you listen, those are not emotions alone. That is confirmation. God is telling you that he has not forgotten you, that he has not miswritten your destiny. He is reminding you that his mark on you is older than any wound you've endured. You are being summoned into deeper trust, into a kind of faith that sees scars not as shame, but as scripture, holy words, written into the fabric of your life. And though people may dismiss you, though some may only ever see the surface of your pain, heaven knows what that scar truly says. It says you belong to a higher order. It says you were born into warfare but destined for victory. It says you are not here by chance, you are here by divine decree. So when you feel the weight of what you've carried, remember this: God himself authorized your journey. The scar you bear is his initial carved into your timeline. And today, he is speaking not to your wound, but through it. The truth you must hear now is this. Your scar is not only a memory of what has been, it is a prophecy of what is coming. What was written into you before birth was not meant to end in pain, but in promise. That mark was placed there as an announcement, a foreshadowing, a living prophecy, that one day you would rise in a way that defies every expectation. You were not designed to blend in. You were not created to walk a smooth, predictable road. Your very being was set apart, written into the story of humanity as a disruption, a divine interruption. And the scar you carry, whether upon your flesh or deep within your soul, is the living proof that your life was written in advance by the one who sees the end from the beginning. Hear this. The prophecy your scar carries is about survival. Yes, but more than that, it is about triumph. There will come a day, and it is nearer than you think, when the very thing that once brought you to tears will be the evidence that ushers in your breakthrough. The world will look at you and wonder how someone like you, with all you've endured, could be standing in the light of victory. They will not know the nights you nearly gave up. They will not understand the weight you carried when no one was watching. But heaven will know, because heaven has been watching all along. That scar whispers of what is ahead. It says that you are destined to heal others, because you yourself have known the depths of brokenness. It says you are called to lead because you have walked through valleys that would have swallowed others whole. It says that your voice, your presence, your very life carries authority, not man-made authority, but the kind that is forged only in fire. And let me speak plainly. The enemy saw this before you ever did. That is why he tried to wound you early. That is why the attacks came before you even knew you were in a war. He tried to silence you before your voice could form, to break you before your purpose could bloom. Because even the darkness recognized the prophecy written into you. Even hell knew that your scar was a signal that heaven had already claimed you. But here is the part the enemy never understood. Scars do not signify defeat. They signify healing. They mean the wound closed. They mean you walked out of the fire alive. They mean you are still standing, still breathing, still chosen. And because of that, the prophecy is unshakable. No attack, no betrayal, no chain of circumstances can undo what was written by God before time began. Soon, the prophecy in your scar will unfold in ways you cannot yet imagine. Doors will open that were once bolted shut. Voices that once mocked you will fall silent as they witness your rise. The very story you thought disqualified you will become the platform upon which you stand. So pay attention. This is not a promise for another life, another generation, another era. This is for now. The same God who wrote his initials into your soul before you were born is calling forth the fulfillment of that writing, and he will not let his word return void. The prophecy was hidden in plain sight all along. The scar you carried in shame will soon be recognized as the crown you carry in glory. And when that moment comes, you will understand. Nothing was wasted, nothing was random, nothing was beyond his plan. What does it mean then, that a scar could carry prophecy? Why would the God of eternity choose something so fragile, so human, to hold such holy meaning? This is where we must step deeper. Because the surface of the scar tells only half the story. The depth is hidden in the spirit. Think of a scar as more than tissue. It is a memorial stone in the temple of your life. Each one is a marker that says, here, I was wounded. Here, I almost bled out. Here, I faced death, and yet I lived. But heaven sees beyond the biology of it. Heaven sees the scar as sacred writing, a line of divine poetry written across your journey. From the beginning, God has always used marks to speak. A rainbow stretched across the sky after the flood was his covenant with Noah. Circumcision in Abraham's time was a sign of belonging to the promise. Even the wounds in Christ's hands and side do you see? They remain in his resurrected body as eternal testimony. The scars of Jesus are not erased in glory. They shine as reminders of victory. If his scars can be holy, then why not yours? This is the spiritual depth you must grasp. Your scar is not proof of abandonment. It is proof of survival. It is not the end of your story, but the punctuation that prepares you for the next sentence. And every time you look at it, whether with your eyes or your memory, you are seeing a coded reminder that you were carried through. But look closer. Scars also mean transformation. A wound that never healed remains open, vulnerable. But a scar means that healing has already taken place. It means your body or your soul did not surrender to destruction. So spiritually, a scar represents resurrection. Something died, but life prevailed. Something broke, but restoration overtook it. What once was raw is now covered with strength. This is why the scar you carry is written before birth. Because God, in His infinite wisdom, saw that one day you would need a visible, tangible reminder that you were not destroyed by what tried to destroy you. He placed it there so that when you doubted your worth, you could look down and see the signature of survival. When you questioned your calling, you would hear the silent voice of that scar declaring, "You are still here. You were chosen for this." And here is the deeper truth. The scar is not just about you, it is about others. Just as Thomas placed his fingers into the wounds of Christ and believed, there will be people who will look at your scar, your testimony, your survival, your endurance, and they will believe. They will find hope because you did not hide what you carried. They will see possibility because you lived through the impossible. Spiritually, your scar is a doorway. It opens into compassion, into wisdom, into discernment. You can sense things others cannot, because pain trained your spirit to listen. You can walk into a room and feel the heaviness that others are hiding, because your scar has tuned your sensitivity to suffering. And though at times you wish you could switch it off, heaven smiles because this sensitivity is your anointing. It is how you heal. Seasons are also written into scars. Think about it. A scar means there was once a storm, but now there is calm. There was once bleeding, but now there is clotting. There was once chaos, but now there is order. So every scar is a map of seasons. It reminds you that winter does not last forever, that wounds do not stay open, that what is broken can be mended. But perhaps the most profound meaning is this. Scars are where glory leaks out. In the cracks, in the broken places, in the imperfect lines, that is where God chooses to shine through. Not in the polished surface of perfection, but in the jagged reminders of your humanity. That is where His light finds space. That is why Paul said he would boast in his weaknesses, because in them the power of God rested on him. So when you see your scar, do not turn away in shame. See it as a holy metaphor, as a testimony, as a divine inscription. See it as a reminder that the author of your life has not made a mistake. See it as proof that even in your weakness, His strength has been perfect. And understand this, your scar is not finished speaking. Its meaning is still unfolding. What it whispers now, as memory will soon thunder as prophecy fulfilled. Now that you see the depth of what your scar carries, you must also recognize the confirmations that surround you. God never leaves His word without witness. He always provides signs, gentle nudges, divine whispers, symbolic markers that tell you the prophecy is alive and active. Some you've noticed already, others you've dismissed as coincidence. But hear me, nothing is coincidence for those marked by heaven. One of the first signs is the stirring of remembrance. There are nights when you are suddenly pulled back into moments long, buried memories rising, not to torment you, but to remind you. These flashes are not accidents, they are confirmations. The Spirit of God is showing you the scar not as a wound, but as a witness. Each memory that returns is a signal that heaven is speaking, saying, "See, I carried you then. I will carry you now." Another sign is the unusual sensitivity you carry. While others walk past pain, you feel it in the air. You can see the sadness behind a smile, hear the despair hidden in laughter. This sensitivity is not a burden but a gift. It is a confirmation that your scar has trained your spirit to see beyond the surface, to perceive what cannot be spoken. It is heaven's way of saying, your healing is not just for you, it is for others, too. A third sign is repetition. Perhaps a certain number follows you. Perhaps you keep encountering the same phrase in different places, or hearing the same scripture echo in unexpected ways. This is no accident. It is heaven circling your attention back to the same truth. You are chosen, you are sealed, you are being prepared. These patterns are confirmation that the prophecy written in you is nearing its unveiling. A fourth sign is the presence of resistance. You've noticed that whenever you take a step toward growth, something rises against you. People misunderstand you. Circumstances seem to push back. Doors close, just as you thought they were opening. Do not mistake this for rejection. It is confirmation. Resistance reveals that you are moving in the right direction, that your scar carries weight in the spiritual realm. and the enemy is threatened by your next move. There is also the sign of unusual peace. Strange, isn't it? In moments when you should be collapsing, something inside you is still. Others wonder how you keep going, how you stay calm, how you hold on. That unexplainable peace is not your own. It is the spirit within you, reminding you that you are covered, that you are seen, that you are exactly where you are meant to be. And finally, there is the sign of being misunderstood. People may look at your scar, literal or metaphorical, and misjudge you. They think you are weaker, stranger, less capable. They cannot see what God has placed in you. Do not despise this misunderstanding. It is a sign that heaven has hidden you in plain sight until the right time. These signs are not random. They are heaven's way of saying, pay attention. Your scar is speaking. Your prophecy is unfolding. Your destiny is closer than you realize. If the signs of confirmation are heaven's whispers of assurance, then the hidden challenges are its refining fire. You must understand, before prophecy becomes fulfillment, it passes through testing. Not to break you, but to prove you. Not to crush you, but to prepare you. One hidden challenge is the weight of waiting. You have felt it before, that ache of wondering why things take so long. You pray, you hope, you believe, yet the breakthrough seems delayed. This waiting is not punishment, it is training. God uses waiting to stretch your faith beyond convenience, to strengthen your trust when nothing visible is changing. Every day of waiting is like resistance training for your spirit. It builds endurance, preparing you to carry the blessing when it arrives. Another hidden challenge is loneliness. Even when surrounded by people, you can feel set apart, unseen, misunderstood. At times it feels like exile, like being pushed to the margins. But this, too, is not rejection, it is consecration. God withdraws you from the noise of the crowd so you can learn to hear His voice clearly. He strips away false attachments so you are not distracted when destiny knocks. Loneliness is often heaven's way of making space for intimacy with Him. There is also the challenge of silence. Have you noticed those seasons when God seems quiet, when prayer feels like it's hitting the ceiling, when heaven seems far away? Those moments can feel suffocating. But listen, silence is not absence. Silence is often instruction. Teachers are quiet during tests. And in those quiet moments, God is strengthening your discernment, teaching you to rely not on constant reassurance, but on unshakable trust. A deeper challenge comes in the form of opposition. People who do not even know your story may resist you. Opportunities may slip away at the last moment. Even family or friends may misinterpret your motives. This is not because you are cursed. It is because your scar testifies loudly in the spirit. The enemy recognizes your potential and tries to discourage you before you step into it. Opposition is the echo of your significance. Perhaps the most piercing challenge is the temptation to give up. When the waiting feels endless, when the silence feels unbearable, when the opposition feels overwhelming, you hear that whisper, why keep going? Why not surrender? This is the enemy's oldest tactic, and yet it always fails against those who remember their mark. When you remember the scar, you remember survival. You remember that quitting was never an option, because God's handwriting on your life will not allow it. So understand this clearly. The hidden challenges are not punishments, they are refinements. They strip away what cannot endure, leaving behind a spirit that cannot be shaken. You are not being left behind, you are being forged. The fire that feels like destruction is actually purification, and when you emerge, you will shine with a strength no one can take away. Your scar is proof that you have already endured much. These challenges, though heavy, are not greater than the hand that holds you. Trust this. If He wrote the prophecy before your birth, He will see you through every test on the way to its fulfillment. Now comes the part where mystery meets clarity, where the prophecy written in your scar requires your response, because destiny is never passive. God's promises are not simply to be admired, they are to be partnered with. And the scar you carry, holy as it is, calls for alignment. The first instruction is this: guard your spirit. You cannot afford to let bitterness take root. The scar itself was born from pain, but if you allow resentment to harden around it, you distort its meaning. Guard your spirit with forgiveness. Release those who harmed you not because they deserve freedom, but because you deserve peace. Your scar is not a monument to their cruelty. It is a testimony to God's mercy. The second instruction is, keep your heart open. Scars often tempt us to close off, to wall ourselves in so we cannot be hurt again. But you were not called to isolation. You were called to pour, to love, to heal. The enemy would rather you shut down than shine. So resist that temptation. Let your scar remind you that pain cannot cancel purpose. Keep your heart tender, even while your spirit is strong. The third instruction: stay in prayer. Not mechanical, routine prayer, but raw, unfiltered communion. Talk to God as you are, not as you think you should be. Pour out the confusion, the doubts, the questions. Let your scar be the altar where you meet Him daily. Prayer is how you realign the prophecy with the present. It is how you take what was written before birth and activate it in this season. Fourth, watch your environment. You cannot afford to keep company with those who despise your destiny. Some people only see the wound, not the prophecy. Some will poke at your scar to keep you bleeding, rather than honor it as proof of survival. You must be wise. Surround yourself with those who recognize the holy weight you carry, with those who speak life into you, not death. Your environment will either water the seed of prophecy or choke it. Choose carefully. Fifth, move when God says move. Timing is everything. Do not run ahead out of impatience, and do not lag behind out of fear. Sensitivity to His leading is vital. There will be moments when the Spirit nudges you, doors that open unexpectedly, opportunities that feel bigger than you. Step forward. The scar you carry is proof that you were built for this. When God says go, obedience is the only response. Sixth, use your voice. You have been silent long enough. Your testimony, your story, your perspective, these are not to be hidden. Someone needs to hear it. Someone's healing is waiting on your honesty. Speak, write, share. Do not be ashamed of what you've endured, because every word you release carries the weight of survival. Your scar is not ugly, it is authority, and authority grows when it is spoken. Finally, stand in expectation. Faith is not passive wishing. Faith is active anticipation. It is setting the table for what has not yet arrived. Begin to prepare as though the prophecy is already unfolding, because it is. Walk with the confidence of someone who knows they are marked, chosen, and sealed. Expect opposition, but expect breakthrough more. Expect resistance, but expect victory greater. These instructions are not burdens, they are lifelines. They are the steps that align your spirit with what was written before you were born. If you follow them, the scar you carry will no longer feel like a memory of what you lost, but a compass guiding you into what you are about to gain. So take these instructions seriously. Heaven has entrusted them to you because you are ready. You are no longer simply surviving. You are being positioned to fulfill prophecy. You have walked through fire, and you bear the mark of it. But hear this clearly. You will not walk unguarded into what comes next. The same God who wrote the prophecy into your scar has also assigned protection around you. You are not exposed prey. You are a guarded vessel. There are angels who walk with you, whether you see them or not. They move in silence, but their presence is real. Some of the near misses you've had, the accidents avoided, the betrayals uncovered just in time, the moments where you just had a feeling, those were not coincidences. They were evidence of heaven's shield. You have been kept, even when you did not know you were in danger. This is the assurance you need. Nothing can touch you without passing through God's permission. That scar may have been written in pain, but it was also written in preservation. The wound closed. The blood stopped. Life continued. That was divine intervention, even if it felt natural at the time. And if He kept you then, why would He abandon you now? Protection is not only external, it is also internal. There is a peace He places in you, one that makes no sense to the human mind. When chaos swirls around, there is a stillness within. When storms rage, you find yourself strangely calm. That peace is not weakness, it is armor. It is the assurance of the Spirit, whispering to you, I am here, I have you, I will not let go. Another form of protection is discernment. Have you noticed how your spirit reacts before your mind catches up? A sudden unease around certain people, a quiet nudge telling you not to go somewhere. That sensitivity is divine radar. Trust it. It is heaven's way of steering you away from traps, of keeping your steps in alignment with the prophecy you carry. And beyond all this, there is the greatest assurance of all. God Himself surrounds you. Psalm 125 says, As the mountains surround Jerusalem, So the Lord surrounds his people. That is not poetry alone, it is reality. You are encircled. Hedge of fire, shield of light, covering of grace, this is your portion. So breathe. Let the weight of fear roll off your shoulders. You have not come this far to be abandoned. You did not survive to suddenly be left unguarded. The scar you carry proves that preservation is woven into your story. Walk forward knowing this. You are watched, you are covered, you are protected. And when the day of fulfillment arrives, you will stand not because of your own strength, but because heaven held you every step of the way. There will come a day, and it is nearer than you think, when the scar you once hid will become the very sign that sets you apart. What was once a secret wound will be a public testimony. What was once your deepest ache will become your greatest authority. And when that moment arrives, you will understand. Everything was preparation. Nothing was wasted. Transformation begins quietly, almost invisibly. You will wake up one morning and feel lighter, even though nothing in your external world has changed. You will step into familiar spaces, but they will no longer have the same grip on you. Old triggers will lose their power. Old fears will no longer hold your breath captive. This is how transformation begins, not with fireworks, but with the steady dawning of a new self. And then, fulfillment begins to unfold. The doors that resisted you will swing open with ease. People who once doubted you will suddenly look to you for guidance. The very environments that once rejected you will make space for your presence. Why? Because heaven's timing cannot be resisted forever. When God decrees a season of fulfillment, no power of man or hell can shut it down. You will see the fruit of what your scar has carried. Compassion will overflow from you like water from a spring. Authority will rest on your words, not because you rehearsed them, but because you lived them. You will carry a light that unsettles darkness, not because you sought power, but because you surrendered through pain. The scar that was written before your birth will shine as proof that you were always designed for this. And it will not only change you, it will change others. Your story will become a mirror for those still bleeding. When they see you, still standing, still thriving, still radiant, they will believe it's possible for them too. Your scar will be the bridge that leads them from despair to hope. You will become a living testimony of survival and destiny. The fulfillment will also bring joy, deep, unshakable joy. Not the fragile happiness that depends on circumstance, but the joy that comes from knowing you are aligned with heaven's design. It will radiate through your smile, echo in your laughter, and strengthen your steps. This joy will be your strength, and nothing will be able to steal it. And finally, transformation will culminate in gratitude. You will look back at the nights of anguish, at the seasons of loneliness, at the moments when giving up seemed easier, and you will thank God for them. Because without them, you would not be who you are now. Without them, you would not carry the depth, the wisdom, the authority you now hold. Your scar, once a symbol of sorrow, will become a crown of thanksgiving. This is the fulfillment. To see your scar, not as a reminder of where you've been, but as a prophecy of where you are going. To walk in the fullness of who you were always meant to be. To rise with the undeniable confidence that your life has always been guided, guarded, and glorified by the hand of God. When that day arrives, and it is coming, you will no longer hide what you carry. You will walk boldly, radiantly, powerfully, and every eye that sees you will know God's hand has been on you all along. Take a breath now. Let every word spoken settle deep into you like seed falling into fertile soil. This is not just a message, it is a mantle, and you are ready to carry it. Before you go, take with you these affirmations. Speak them aloud. Whisper them in your spirit. Let them become the rhythm of your days. Affirmation 1. My scar is not my shame. It is my seal of destiny. Every time you feel the weight of what you've carried, remember that it does not disqualify you. It identifies you. It proves that you are chosen, prepared, and appointed. Affirmation 2. What was written in me before birth is unfolding now. You are not waiting for some distant future. You are walking in prophecy even now. Each step you take brings the unseen closer to sight, the hidden closer to reality. Affirmation 3. No weapon formed against me can erase what heaven has written. Attacks may come, storms may rise, opposition may stand in your way, but none of it has the authority to undo what was written by the hand of God before you drew your first breath. Affirmation 4. I am surrounded, protected, and covered by divine presence. You do not walk alone. Angels go before you. The Spirit rests within you. The Father himself surrounds you like mountains around his city. Hold these truths close. Let them anchor you when the wind howls. Let them steady you when doubt whispers. Let them empower you when the next step feels uncertain. And now, let me speak a blessing over you. May your scar shine with glory, not grief. May your testimony echo louder than your trial. May your heart remain tender even after fire, and your spirit remain strong even after storms. May the same God who wrote his name into your story before time began, the same God who carried you through what should have broken you, the same God who turned your wound into a witness, bring you into a season of fulfillment where every tear is redeemed, every trial is crowned, and every scar speaks louder than words. Go now in peace, with assurance burning in your spirit. Go now with courage, knowing you are marked for greater things. Go now with joy, because what was written before birth will not fail. This is not the end. This is the unveiling. And you, yes, you are ready.